You're welcome to another episode of Safety Moment with WALIEYULLAH. First of all, I would like to use this time to appreciate everyone who has contributed to all my sessions, to all my enlightening sessions, starting from my Zoom webinar series, everyone who has always taken time to come, everyone who has always taken their time to watch my safety videos, everyone who has always taken their time to scroll through my presentations, my graphics on safety principles, safety tips. Everyone who has always called me to tell me, Waliyu, thank you, we love what you do. Everyone who has also taken their time to nominate me for various awards, I really appreciate you guys. You guys are the reasons why I'm still doing this, because I must tell you, it's not easy and it hasn't been easy. This episode of Statement with WALIEYULLAH, we'll be talking about accident investigation and why we need to carry out accident investigation. We all know that when we talk about accident actually means unfavorable occurrence, unexpected occurrences, or unplanned occurrences that we never plan, and it leads to either loss of life or loss of properties or injuries to us, and it can go as much as biological accident like what we have today. Release of toxic substances that could lead to injuries to people are also part of accident. When you put maybe detergent in a bottle and you keep it in the kitchen and your child comes in and takes it and drinks it, it's an accident. It's not until you have a car accident before you know that there's an accident, because most times we associate accident to cars only, but accident is any unfavorable condition that can lead to loss of life, injuries, ill health, anything at all. They are all what? They are all accidents. Now, when accident occurs, there's reason why we need to carry out investigation, and it doesn't only apply to the workplace, even our homes. When something occurs, we should know that what are the causes of this thing, why do we have this, and how can we prevent reoccurrence. So today we'll be talking about reasons why we carry out investigation. We'll be talking about general reasons and we'll be talking about professional reasons. Explaining the reasons why we carry out accident investigation is a very voluminous topic, and we can't exhaust it in just one video because I don't want the video to be too lengthy. So we are going to break down the discussion into two parts. On this episode, we'll be giving 5 reasons why we need to carry out accident investigation, and they include: number 1, to identify root causes; number 2, to prevent reoccurrence; number 3, to update risk assessment; number 4, for future documentation use; number 5, to meet legal requirements. Talk about identifying root causes. We are talking about those things that led to the accident. There are 2 things we look out for, the causes we look out for during an accident. We have the immediate cause and the root cause. The immediate cause are the things that we see immediately in the environment of the accident where the accident happened. For example, maybe a tanker or a trailer that is carrying a container fell on a car and killed some people. Obviously, we will say the immediate cause of the accident is that, number 1, they are bad road, the road was bad, then it was trying to maneuver. Then number 2, maybe the weight of the tanker was too much and it has to tilt. No, those are the immediate causes. But when we talk about the root causes, it has to do with those underlying causes. Most times it has to do with managerial errors that has led to the accident. Most times it has to do with managerial errors. Example of a root cause, let me use, for example, like I use the example of a car now. Let's say there are bad roads, like we have it around. Okay, the root cause can be actually the contract was given to someone to maintain the road or to repair the road, and the person failed to repair that road. So failure of that person to repair that road led to the road being bad and now led to the accident. So the root cause is failure to either manage the contractor or the failure of the contractor to repair the road. Another example, let's look at our homes. I like giving an example of our homes. Like I said the other time, you mistakenly put a poison. Maybe you try to use a liquid wash or your detergent, then you pour some water into it to make it in liquid form, then you place it in the kitchen, and your child comes in and thought it was juice or whatever, took it and drank it, and there was an issue. Then now the immediate cause of what's happening to the child, the accident, is what? Is the drinking of the poison. But the root cause has to do with the failure of the parent to know where to place some items. The failure of the parent to create a barrier between the child and the poison. That is, okay, this is where my child will go to. My child should not be found wanting in the kitchen or in the laundry area. Those those controls were not put in place. And it can also be the case of, while should a father or a mother put detergent in a bottle that looks like that of Fanta, in a container, a Fanta container or a Coke container, and the child thinks that it's a soft drink and we decide to drink it. So it's not only about the immediate cause but also about the root cause. So when we understand these root causes, we'll be able to put controls in place in order to prevent the accident from happening. Example is that of our home. I love using our homes as example. For example, a child was using the electric cooker and got electrocuted. Obviously, it happens in most homes. Now, the immediate cause of the accident is there was a release of current, and the guy or the girl touched the electric cooker and got electrocuted. But a root cause must have been that the failure of the parent to repair that equipment. They have been observing that there have been minor shock, mild shock on the equipment, but they failed to repair it until the day that it now led to serious electrocution and now killed the child. So root causes are underlying causes that we fail to attend to, and at the end of the day led to a major to an immediate cause that now led to the accident. Identify these root causes. When we identify them, we are able to address them and put controls in place. It makes it easy for us to prevent the reoccurrence of accident, and that is one of the reasons why we carry out accident investigation. Now, to prevent reoccurrence, obviously that's the second reason why we carry out accident investigation, because when we have an accident, our prayer is just for the accident not to happen again. In Yoruba they will say aniruremo, but aniruremo is not meaning that we won't see such again. But aniruremo doesn't happen with your mouth. You look at what has happened, what has occurred, and how do we prevent it. And that's why we carry out investigation, because when an accident happens, we investigate, we look at what are the causes, and the reason why we are doing that is to prevent it from happening again. For example, there was an accident that I investigated in my community. I love using this example a lot. And we found out that there was a leakage in the gas cylinder. It was a fire accident in the gas cylinder that they've been trying to manage, and they tried to manage it until it led to a serious accident. Now, the failure of the father or the mother or the parent to actually repair the burner led to the accident. So if such thing isn't taken into consideration and we do not record it down and we do not carry out the investigation, we won't know the root cause. And when we don't know the root cause, there will be no reason why we will say such thing would happen again. So we carry out investigation for us to be able to prevent it from happening, because when we carry out the investigation, we see what caused the accident, we learn from it, and everybody goes home with something beneficial to prevent such thing from happening again. I mentioned the third one. I would like to plead to you, in case you've not subscribed to my channel, to please click on the subscribe button. This is not one of those videos where we just laugh. This is a video where we need to learn together. We need to learn some things together. It's not only about laughing or listening to comedy. It's not only about watching some other videos. We need to learn and learn about safety. Safety is number one. Safety is priority. Without safety, everybody is in a case of chaos. So we need to learn and we need to spread the knowledge. Three, to update risk assessment. When we're talking about risk assessment, let me break it down. When we talk about risk, we are talking about likelihood and the severity. That is the likelihood of an accident to happen, and when it happens, how severe it is. So now, for every activity that we take on, there's a risk assessment. That is, we assess how risky or the likelihood of an accident happening, and if it happens, how severe it can be. So now, there has already been let's say there is a set of risk assessment that has been done already. Now, if an accident happens, we need to carry out investigation, so that we'll be able to know that yes, there are additional risks, there are additional hazards that have been introduced that might have led to the accident, and that accident can reoccur. So when we have a risk assessment in place and we carry out investigation, we actually carry out the investigation to be able to update our risk assessment, because we have a risk assessment already, but risk assessment now is not sufficient due to a change. There's what we call MOC, management of change. Maybe due to a change that we fail to recognize, and it has led to an accident. We now carry out a robust investigation to be able to update the risk assessment and to be able to prevent reoccurrence. And also, the first one, to be able to analyze the root cause. You can see that they all work together. Remember that we are giving you general reasons and professional reasons. The first two that we mentioned is actually a general reason to prevent reoccurrence and to identify root causes, and the third one that we gave actually is more professional, that is to update risk assessment. The fourth one that we are going to tell you now is also a professional reasons, and the reason is for future documentation use, which means that when an accident happens, we document it. When it's not documented, you have to write it down and document it. When it's not written and documented, then it's not done. So part of the reasons why we carry out this accident investigation is to be able to document the new hazard, the new risks. We try to go into details of what caused the accident and how it can be prevented and documented. So now when it's not documented, it can be used in the nearest future. That's why we have for future documentation use, because in the nearest future a similar task can happen, a similar task can come up, and we're looking for the best way to carry out the task. Having records of accident investigation can also add to the process of creating SOPs, that is standard operating procedures, because those accidents that occur, it will now be a learning point for us to give a more robust risk assessment for that accident not to occur in the nearest future. So for future documentation use is part of the reasons why we carry out accident investigation. The last one is very straightforward: for meeting legal requirements. When an accident happens, it's your duty for you to report the accident. That is in a standard setup, and why we are reporting the accident is for part of the reasons is for every other industry to learn from the accident, to keep records of whatever that have happened, to give statistics of those that are involved in the accident and every other statistic that is needed. So it's part of the legal requirement. Maybe someone was injured and they need to be compensated, or someone died and the parents need to be compensated. All these things, they are legal routes, and part of the requirement for those legal actions to be taking place is when you carry out such accident investigation. So part of the reason why we are carrying out accident investigation is for what? Is for legal requirement. And that's all we have for you for today. Have you learned something? Do you think this is reasonable enough? Do you think it makes sense to you? Remember, it's not only about the workplace, it's not only about the industry. Even in your homes, you need to be safety conscious. We need to learn. And here on Safety Minute with WALIEYULLAH, we discuss a lot of safety related issues. Keep in touch with me. Follow me on Instagram, follow me on YouTube, follow me on Facebook, follow me on Twitter, and let us learn about safety together. Thank you. God bless. Boom.